I am your science experiment, day 5 of the Sardine Fast. That's right, day 5. I am absolutely amazed. I'm feeling great right now. I did have some hard times up to the end of day 4 as I had these 2 nights of really bad sleep, but I made some slight adjustments which really helped a lot. Last night I slept like a baby. I'll get into that in a little while, but first I just want to touch on a couple things. I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. I am not telling you to do this diet. If you decide to do this challenge, that's great. My hope is to be able to provide you with a real-time, first-hand look at what a human being is going through doing this for 14 days. A lot of people only do it for 3. And I'll also reference the doctor that introduced me to this diet into the comments on this post. But having said that, in my professional life, I am a wine critic and a perfect example of how you can actually have a job like that while living a fit, healthy lifestyle. And I've received a lot of hard questions over these last few days, and I'm really happy about that because when I set out to try to start this diet, I had a lot of these same questions, and finding the answers to them actually required me to do a lot of research. So this is a great time for me to sit down on day 5 and tell you about some of the pitfalls, because my goal is to not only show you the ups, but also the downs of doing such a serious diet as this. So first and foremost, let me just get this out of the way. The amount of people who have responded saying a fast is a complete abstinence of calories. Yes, I get it. I have done fasts. I have done water fasts. I totally understand what you're saying. I didn't name this diet. Call it the Sardine Challenge, call it the Sardine Diet, call it the Sardine Fast, whatever you want to do. Why did this person call it the Sardine Fast? The idea is that you have such a small caloric intake, you are not hungry to keep eating more. I mean, look, the first 4 days, or should I say 3 days in this diet, I was consuming 700 calories worth of sardines in olive oil, an olive oil that I added myself. All right, that's it. 700 calories, right? I'm someone that's usually consuming about 3,000 to 3,500 calories a day as a 175, 78-ish human. And so you can imagine, you are going into autophagy, but at the same time, you're also telling your body to basically take all the nutrients from the small amount of food you were eating to sustain your nutrients while starting to work on a level of autophagy, of activating mitochondria, basically getting rid of all the crap in your system. Next, people talk about gout. So I want to be very clear here. Look, 14 days. If I'm wrong, and you're going to find out. But here's the way I see it. I'm not going to get gout. Why? No sugar, no alcohol. The presence of insulin in your blood and the presence of alcohol in your body is what allows those crystals to collect in your joints. I do believe, and we're going to see, that I will not have any issues with gout because there is nothing that's going to hold the gout in the joints themselves. Which then brings me to another thing. People are like, God, you must have horrible indigestion and gas. No, I have been on the carnivore diet for 3 years, and one thing I learned on the carnivore diet is that when you take vegetables, and you take bread, and you take beans, when you take all the stuff that's actually hard to digest out of your diet, you don't get gas, you don't get bloating. I know it goes against everything that you learned when you were a kid, but it's a reality. Give it a try, you'll be absolutely amazed. Absolutely amazed. So another thing I just want to touch on before I go beyond the whole gout and the gas thing, water. Water is so important, and this also relates to the gout. You want to constantly be drinking water. I love this stuff. No sponsors. I love this stuff. High mineral content. You need a high mineral content on this diet. This stuff, you can actually feel the mineral in your palate. It actually has like a weight. It's like silky. It's oily. It's absolutely amazing. It isn't cheap, but it's like your best friend on a diet like this, and also say like a diet like the carnivore diet. And then there's feeding. Okay, so what am I actually eating? The formula that I learned, well, okay, the doctor that first introduced this to me, which was Dr. Boz, basically said, you get hungry, eat sardines, right? But her whole thing is that there's only so many sardines you can eat. They're so nutrient dense. They're so satiating. And then as I got deeper into the literature, I started hearing people saying, well, what you should really do is you should be looking to eat 1 can of sardines per 50 pounds of body weight. Keep in mind, none of these rules are completely set in stone for any single one person. Like I said before, I had a lot of trouble sleeping, and yesterday I fixed it. How? I added another can of sardines. So I was doing about 3.5 cans of sardines at 175 pounds. I brought it up to about 4.5 cans of sardines, and I also added a little bit more oil. All right, and boom, amazing sleep. But that's another thing. Let's just say that you're like, wow, I'm going to be so hungry. How am I going to get through the day? You're going to get through the day. Trust me, sardines are so satisfying. As I've mentioned in other videos, it almost like forces you into this feeding window. All right, like my feeding window has been somewhere around like a 17 by 7 feeding window. It's pretty insane when you think about it. 17 hours fasted followed by 7 hours of actual feeding, and then I'm just not hungry. And that's the thing. I had to almost force myself to eat that 4th can of sardines yesterday. So that's how this actually works. This is how it puts you in a calorie restriction and how it keeps you in a calorie restriction. So very important to keep in mind. Look, in the end, just keep the questions coming. I don't mind answering them. Again, I am your science experiment, day 5. Let's see how it goes. I've got another 9 days to go, and I'm really excited to see where I'm going to be at the end of the road.